Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptan sanjeevayata kila shakti dhara swadhamna anyam shahasta charana shravana tvagadim prananamo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam katanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitam sya Sri Chaitanya namamitam. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Thank you for joining our ABC class. So today I'll be discussing on the topic of how devotees, sadhakas can be joyful amidst suffering. One of the misconceptions we have when we come to Krishna consciousness is, now my life will be happy. I will have no problems. But after some time, when suffering doesn't stop, then we go to the other extreme. We think Krishna consciousness doesn't work because I'm suffering. So either I want to be happy all the time, and if I'm not happy, then I think there is only suffering. No, it's very nuanced. Bhakti is not so gross. We have to learn the art of being joyful amidst suffering. Because suffering we cannot avoid just because we are devotees. Unfortunately, we become a victim of self-deception. We cheat ourselves. Srila Prabhupada said there are 4 defects we all have. All of you know this. Imperfect senses. Because of imperfect senses, we have a tendency to fall into illusion. And because of this illusion, we make mistakes. And to cover up our mistakes, we cheat. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that a shopkeeper says, "Sir, I will sell you this shirt for half the price because for you, I won't make a profit." So when he says that, Srila Prabhupada says, he is cheating you because he is making 200% profit. But he tells you that for you, he is not making profit. That cheating is allowed, Prabhupada says. That is part of, so basically cheating is universal. But as devotees, we'll end up cheating ourselves because of these wrong expectations. We think I should be always happy because I am now a devotee of Krishna. Well, it doesn't work like that. Srila Prabhupada says Maya is very strong. In Kunti's prayers, Srila Prabhupada writes that Maya will always test a devotee because she wants to see whether we want to serve Krishna or we want to disturb Krishna. You may wonder, can we disturb Krishna? No, Srila Prabhupada says we can't disturb Krishna, but she does this test because she wants to see what is our mood. Do we really want to serve Krishna or do we want to disturb him? Only when we have a sincere desire to serve, then the whole material energy will facilitate things which are very favorable for us. But as devotees, we land up fooling ourselves because the proof of this is, despite many, many years of practices in Krishna consciousness, we are unable to access a reality beyond ourselves. All the reality we talk about is connected to me, my life, my problems, my family, my job, my friends, my savings, my property. It's all about a reality surrounding me. But spiritual truths will always remain inaccessible if we cannot rise beyond ourselves. So what do we do? How do we access that spiritual truth, especially when we go through suffering? So the first and most important thing is we need to pause. We need to constantly, repeatedly take a pause and ask ourselves, why am I doing devotional service? Because when we are chanting Hare Krishna, chanting and hearing is the foundation of bhakti, but our scriptures emphatically declare that chanting and hearing can also be counterproductive because when we are chanting, we are not simply watering the bhakti seed, we are also watering the weeds. I repeat, there are weeds, there are unhealthy things in the heart. Just like when the plant is growing, there are weeds that throttle the plant. So when we are putting water on the plant, we are also inadvertently putting water on the weeds, and these weeds also grow and they throttle the plant completely. So hearing, chanting, service is great, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted us to be an expert gardener. A gardener is he who is expert and he plucks out the weeds when they start growing. So we have to work hard, not just be chanting, hearing and thinking one day sab ho jayega, ek din hum Bhagavad Dham chale jayenge. No. One day I will get ecstasy. No. As a gardener, we have to consistently keep chanting and hearing and also doing introspection and pausing. So when we are chanting, I know, many times, like today we chanted for 15 minutes, my mind was wandering everywhere. But we have to keep coming back, doing it every day. See, when I was around 34, 35 years old, I remember my sister-in-law, she was feeding her baby. She had a small child. So this child would be running everywhere. So my sister-in-law with that, some baby food, she would be running behind the child and she would make the child stop and she would feed her daughter. And then the child would eat little and again the child would run. So patiently the mother would follow the daughter. So there was a certain area where the child would be going running here and there. But patiently the mother would keep feeding the child. And now, of course, this girl is grown up. She's 20 years old. Now nobody has to feed her. She automatically goes to the kitchen. She eats her food. Similarly, our mind is like a child when we come to Krishna consciousness. We have to feed the mind with holy names, with Krishna Katha. The mind has a natural proclivity to not hear and chant. So we have to soberly, forcefully feed. And when doing that, we need to admit, I am very far away from Krishna. I am not a devotee. See, this is a very, very important shift we need to make as we are doing our sadhana bhakti. If we want to experience joy, as life gives us harsh treatment, if as a devotee we want to be happy, we need to move from an intellectual approach in bhakti. See, right now we are all intellectually admitting that, I am fallen devotee, I have to become pure devotee, I have many anarthas, I have lust and anger in my heart. These are all intellectual admissions. We have to move from an intellectual admission of our fallen condition to an emotional confession. We need to be able to tell Krishna, Krishna, I am far away from you. Krishna, I love you. Radha Gopinath, Radha Kalachand, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Giridhari, all these deities who are our personal Ishtadev, we need to pray to them. We need our relationship with them. We need to tell them, Krishna, please accept me. Please forgive me. When we make this emotional confession, that's when we actually start experiencing joy amidst suffering. You may ask a question, okay, if I come in front of Krishna, how can I actually feel this? How can I actually make this prayer that Krishna, I'm so far away from you? How can I invest emotions in bhakti? Well, that will happen if we practice Anirveda and Avyagratva. These are two extremely powerful techniques which Sanatana Goswami has given, which means Avyagratva means don't rush your spiritual practice. If you're doing deity worship, don't just be obsessed with time. Or if you're chanting, don't just be obsessed with finishing the rounds. Just be with Krishna. And Anirveda means persistence. Just carry on every day patiently with determination. See, Krishna loves to play hide and seek. Krishna is not somebody you order and Krishna appears. Krishna, come in front of me. No, Krishna won't come like that. Krishna is not giving taste. Krishna is the transcendental autocrat. But patiently, with determination, I continue. And this continuing in Krishna consciousness is not easy because we need to have a lot of humility. And when we start investing this patience, persistence, and when there is attention and humility in our approach of bhakti, we don't get love of Krishna immediately. No, we get awareness of who we are. And that is mercy. Many times devotees think mercy means ecstasy. I should feel ecstatic in bhakti. Well, No. Mercy doesn't mean joy. Mercy doesn't mean ecstasy. Mercy means to know who we are. Who am I? And if we are sincere in our practices, if we are plucking out the weeds, if we are chanting attentively, if we are patiently coming back to Krishna, investing our emotions to Krishna, then Krishna will show the mirror. Prabhu, look at yourself. You have put your tilak. You have not put your tilak today. Look, there is a mole in your nose. Krishna will show us the mirror. Krishna will reveal to us that we are far away from him. And that when Krishna reveals, it is not easy to take in. All of you know the Kaliya pastime? This is one of my favorite pastimes. So Kaliya pastime is amazing, amazing pastime. Krishna is dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, right? And this is amazing because what was happening when Krishna was dancing on Kaliya, two people were enjoying it a lot. Who are the two groups of people who were enjoying that Kaliya dancing very much? One was Krishna. Krishna was enjoying. He was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. He was happy. And who was the second group of people who were very happy when Krishna was dancing? The Brajavasis, right? The Brajavasis were enjoying seeing Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. But one person was miserable. Who was miserable? Kaliya was miserable. So Krishna consciousness is like that. So my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that we are like Kaliya. When we chant Hare Krishna, it is like Krishna dancing on the tongue. And he says our tongue is like serpent. It is slippery. Like a serpent's head is slippery. Our tongue is slippery. And just like Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, Krishna is dancing on our tongue. And when Krishna starts dancing on Kaliya's hood, what did Kaliya throw up? Blood, poison. It all started coming out when Krishna was dancing on Kaliya's hoods. So when the holy name starts dancing on our tongue, holy name is Krishna, our tongue is a serpent, and we start facing all the poison, blood of our anarthas coming out. And we are suffering. We are miserable. So what can give us joy at that time? Just look out of the Kaliya lake. Look at the Brajavasis. All the devotees in ISKCON are like Brajavasis. So when Kaliya was being thumped and stomped by Krishna, what was happening to the Brajavasis? They were joyful. They were ecstatic. So when we are going through suffering because of our purification, you will see devotees are happy. Devotees, you will see all around devotees are blissful. They are happy seeing Krishna dancing on my on my hoods. But I am miserable. And they'll greet you very happily. Hari Bol Prabhu, Hare Krishna Mataji, how are you? Radhe Radhe, we went to Mayapur Dham. And you are like, wow, everybody is happy except me in bhakti. Many devotees in ISKCON, we get into depression because we feel other devotees are so happy and I am miserable. And because Krishna is dancing on our hoods, and the test is too much. So at that time, one thing that gives me a lot of faith is when I see, wow, okay, I may be suffering, but look at these devotees, they are so happy. They are Brajavasis. That is why they are enjoying bhakti. Krishna is making them happy. So we have to see other devotees in ISKCON as receiving Krishna's reciprocation. They may not understand my misery. I remember, sometimes I used to feel very angry with devotees. Why they don't understand? I'm going through so much suffering. Why they are not empathetic? Why they don't understand how much they're all saying Hari Bol Prabhu. When I tell them, Prabhu, please pray for me, they say, Prabhu, what to pray for you? You are already pure devotee. No, so devotees think, Prabhu, I'm in Maya. No, Prabhu, you are in Yog Maya. I'm in Maha Maya. Prabhu, you pray for us. What we can pray for you? Everybody's euphemisms are very common in our devotee community. So when we are going through suffering and devotees are so happy, I used to think, why are they so happy? Why they can't understand me? But when I made this paradigm shift, I realized, they are Brajavasis. Krishna is dancing on my hoods and my blood and poison is coming out. I am going through purification. But they are very, very dear to Krishna. That is why they are enjoying Krishna's dance. They may not understand my misery. but they are dear to Krishna. And right now, Krishna is using me as an instrument to make them happy. Therefore, it is worth it. And then slowly you realize, well, Krishna is purifying them also. Krishna is dancing on their hoods also. And Krishna will surely dance on their hoods in future, if not already. Basically, we have to accept Krishna's dance. It is painful. And when we start chanting holy names, we go through a lot of purification. It is not simply joy and ecstasy. There is going to be purification. It is painful as vomit and blood comes out, but there are two things we need to do which Kaliya did, and that will ensure that we are joyful even though we are suffering. What are the two things that Kaliya did? First, Kaliya surrendered to Krishna. He sincerely repented and he chose humility. Is it not? Did Kaliya not surrender? Yes. Secondly, he did something very interesting. He repeated the prayers that his wives were chanting. So we can also do two things. First, we can choose humility. We can say, Krishna, I trust you. Krishna, you are my well-wisher. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surdam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Krishna, you are my well-wisher. Krishna, I trust you. This is one. Second, what we can do is, we can repeat prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam and Acharyas. Just like, see, now I am reading a very beautiful book by His Holiness Srila Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. This is called Healing Prayers. It's a beautiful book. He has written, every sentence in that book is filled with so much devotion. It's a book on Kunti's prayers. So it's called Healing Prayers. It is there in front. No, it's there inside my cupboard. I'll take it out some later. So that's a very beautiful book. So the two things. One is humility, means trusting Krishna and surrendering to Krishna. And secondly, repeating the prayers. Like Kaliya did two things. Kaliya surrendered to Krishna. He repeated the prayers that his wives were chanting. Because when the poison comes out, it was painful. It was a thunderbolt on Kaliya's head. See, Kaliya had no choice. Krishna was smashing it. Kaliya is actually very fortunate. He had no choice. Krishna was just thumping him, stomping him. But we have a choice. We can tell Krishna, Krishna, please don't dance on my hoods. We can remove the bead bag and keep it away. And Krishna will leave. So instead of chanting Hare Krishna, we can chant mundane songs. We can avoid Krishna's holy names. And we'll get some relief from the heavy purification, because that's not going to happen. Krishna may not dance on our heads, but you can't escape. If Krishna doesn't dance on our heads, Maya will dance. And that is going to be misery. See, Krishna dancing on our head is purification. I hope all of you know the difference between misery and purification. Misery is painful, beginning, middle, and end. Misery is only suffering. And misery adds more misery for future. Misery entangles us. But purification is different. Purification also is painful, but purification is when we remember Krishna. Purification removes entanglement. Purification ensures future peace. See, when Maya dances on our heads, then two things happen, right? Prakshepatmika and Avaranatmika Shakti, our intelligence gets covered and we get kicked and beaten. But when Krishna dances on our heads, when Krishna is dancing on our tongue of the holy names, then purification happens. And as we get purified, although we may be suffering, we'll see the devotees around us. They are happy. Like Brajvasis were happy when Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. So if we have this mood that, okay, I may be going through what I am going. Whatever I am going through. But I want to make devotees happy because they are Brajvasis, they are dear to Krishna. Let me make them happy. These devotees are dear to Krishna. If somehow during the middle of our suffering, we can think of making other devotees happy, that is a game changer. Srila Prabhupada explains this very beautifully. Tahala ananda hoye tabe hoye dikvijay chaitanyera kripa atishay maya dushta jata dukhi jagate sabai sukhi vaishnavera ichha purna hoy. He says that will be a great happiness for everyone When Lord Chaitanya's mercy will flow everywhere, and men and women who are in Maya, they start becoming happy, and that's when a devotee becomes happy. So basically, our happiness would ideally be when we see other devotees are happy, although I am going through purification. See, Krishna is the best. We have no choice. If we choose Krishna, we have to go through purification, but we have a choice of not accepting Krishna. See, Krishna is ready to leave our hood. We are Kaliya, right? But you can't tell Krishna, Krishna, you dance on my head, but don't purify me. Make it enjoyable. See, it will be enjoyable for others, but for us, it's going to be enjoyable, but it's also going to be purifying. In English, they have a saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't tell Krishna, Krishna, purify me, but also let me be only happy. No. We have to get both. See, Kaliya survived. Krishna was about to kill Kaliya. But you know why Krishna didn't kill Kaliya? Because two things. His wives prayed for him, and he also was naturally humble, genuinely humble. This combination made Krishna happy. Actually, there's a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam 10th canto where Krishna is about to kill Kaliya, and he tells the Nagapatnis that I was about to kill your husband, and my anger towards Kaliya was like a raging forest fire. But your prayers is like a monsoon cloud. It's like monsoon rain. So when the monsoon rains falls in the forest fire gets extinguished. Similarly, your prayers have extinguished my anger which I had for Kaliya. So the combination of Kaliya's humility and the Nagapatni's prayers saved Kaliya's life. So now let us put ourselves in Kaliya's shoes. We are now devotees. We are chanting Hare Krishna, and we are inviting Krishna to dance on our hoods or on our tongue. So when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is dancing on the tongue. And at that time, can we do these two things? Can we depend on devotees' prayers? And can we surrender? Can we tell Krishna, Krishna, I am yours. Krishna, please accept me. I accept your mercy. See, spiritual life is all about surrender. Now, you may not be a Hare Krishna, just forget, even non-Hare Krishnas, they know about surrender. Whether it is a Buddhist, Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Louis Hay, you talk about any spiritual or non-spiritual, self-help, motivational guru, positive thinkers, everyone talks about surrender. They may not say Krishna, they'll say universe, force, consciousness, energy. They'll use all other words, but ultimately we know all that higher force is Krishna. So can we tell Krishna, Krishna, I surrender to you. And as we beg Krishna to dance on our tongue, as Krishna is purifying us, we realize that we can't do it on our own. We need devotees to pray for us. And at that time, like Nagapatnis prayed for Kaliya, can we beg other devotees, Prabhus, Matajis, please pray for me? Because they are devotees and I am not, I am Kaliya. When I request devotees to pray for myself, that is humility. See, Kaliya was fortunate because he had no choice. Krishna was purifying him. And secondly, his wives were praying for him. But we have a choice. We can choose Krishna. We can reject Krishna. Therefore, we will get more mercy because we are choosing Krishna. And also, we are begging devotees to pray for us. Kaliya didn't ask his wives to pray for him, but they prayed for him. So it requires a lot of humility and begging to go to a devotee and say that, oh, Vaishnava, please pray for me. Oh, Vaishnav Thakur. Kabe Sri Chaitanya More Koribe na doya, Kabe ami paibo Vaishnava pada chaya, Kabe ami chadi boye Vishaya abhiman, Kabe Vishnu jane ami Koribe samman, Gala vastra kutanjali Vaishnava nikate, Dante trana dari doda ibanish kapate. So the Vaishnava Acharya is praying that I will go to a Vaishnava and beg him, please pray for me. And when what that devotee would do when I go and tell that devotee, please pray for me? Shuniya amara dukha Vaishnava Thakur, amalagi Krishna abe didena prachur. When he hears my desperate situation, He will pray to Krishna on my behalf. Ama lagi Krishna abe dibena prachur. And when Krishna hears a devotee praying for me, Vaishnavera nivedana Krishna dayamay ena pamara prati habena saday. Krishna becomes very happy because Krishna can't refuse a devotee's prayer. So therefore, we need two things. One is we ourselves becoming humble and surrendering to Krishna, and then we have other devotees, like Kalia had Nagpatnis. We have other devotees praying for us. At our level, we can be humble. See, we can't take Krishna consciousness as a fun process, as only enjoyable, where everything is like, party. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, he showed Krishna consciousness as a happy process. There were very young devotees, and it was, he showed them how Krishna is dancing on Kalia. But these devotees, young devotees, they also grew up. At one point of time, after Srila Prabhupada left this world, they also became 30s, 40s, 50s now. Then they came to their 60s. And they realized that, well, Krishna is dancing on Kalia is beautiful, but Krishna is dancing on my hoods also. And then it's not all that fun. When the poison starts coming out, and then, the problems start coming, and then we pick up a beat bag and we say, Krishna, leave me alone. Krishna says, okay, bye-bye. But if we allow Krishna to dance on our tongue, if we continue chanting, then purification will happen. And not only purification will happen, Krishna will ask us, Prabhu, maja aa raha hai na? Krishna will also ask us. And we can say, nahi, Krishna, it's not fun. But Krishna, please don't leave me. Krishna, please always be with me. Krishna, I am yours. Okay, this is the paradox. This paradox is the secret of being happy amidst suffering in Krishna consciousness. I am suffering, but I want you, Krishna. That's when we experience spiritual happiness. Krishna consciousness is not absence of purification. We cannot avoid surrender to Krishna. Kalia surrendered, we also have to surrender. My Guru Maharaj says, how Maya traps both of us, devotees also and non-devotees also. He says non-devotees are trapped by Maya because Maya convinces them not to surrender to Krishna. And devotees are trapped by Maya because Maya convinces them to postpone their surrender to Krishna. See, that is very interesting. Don't surrender to Krishna is what non-devotees do. What devotees do, they say, we will surrender later. First, let us understand surrender deeply. Prabhu, what is surrender? What are the 8 ways of surrender? Give me details. We ask questions, we want clarity, but we postpone surrender. But now is the time to surrender. Krishna, I am yours. Krishna, please accept me. And this is when we start feeling joy amidst our suffering or purification. Tatte nukampam susumikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam Ridvag vapurbir vidadam namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. When we can tell Krishna, Krishna, I accept what you are giving me as part of my purification. I accept it as your mercy. Without realizing our humble position, we can't become pure. Imagine you become pure. Imagine all anarthas go away. But if you're not humble, then 100% you'll become proud. Because this humility is very important. Because it is humility that keeps us grounded. Otherwise, if you become pure, free of all anarthas, it will get intoxicating. So therefore, we need to aspire. We need to surrender to Krishna and request devotees to pray for us. Unfortunately, for many of us, we know about surrender. We know that I am fallen, I have a false ego. See, there is a difference between knowing that I have a massive false ego and realizing that I have a false ego. See, when I know I have a false ego, like now I know I have a false ego, that is intellectually very stimulating. I have a lot of questions, I want clarity, I try to figure out on how I can overcome my false ego. I seek solutions. That's what happens when I know that I have a false ego. But when I realize that I have a false ego, that's when the thunderbolt is striking my head. The blood is coming out. And at such times, devotees generally give up their chanting or they become very ritualistic. That's when Maya tricks us. See, we can see Krishna dancing on someone else's head. It's a beautiful dance. Krishna consciousness is so nice. We can see Krishna dancing on Kaliya's hoods. But there's a difference between seeing Kaliya's dance and feeling Kaliya dance. Krishna dancing on Kaliya's hoods, we can see it, we can read about it, we can hear about it. That is like seeing the Krishna's dance on Kaliya. But feeling that dance, well, that is tough. And for that, we need to surrender. And that's when we start finding Krishna's lotus feet beautiful. That's when we find everything in Krishna consciousness wonderful, although we may be going through our purification. And Krishna's lotus feet is the object of our meditation. And when we start meditating on Krishna's lotus feet in this mood, then that suffering which we are going through appears beautiful. It appears to be purifying. But we can't avoid the surrender. We need to offer our head to Krishna. Krishna, I don't like the pain. I don't like what I'm going through, but I trust you. And therefore, this is the key. Just like the Brajvasis were enjoying Krishna's dancing on Kaliya's hoods, we need to meditate on how devotees are happy and how I can make them happy. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj writes in Journey Home that he was in Ram Sevak Swami's ashram at Patna. And there was one sadhu who prepared khichdi. Now Maharaj was staying on the bank of Ganga every night. He was sleeping. And the mosquitoes would harass him so much that he couldn't sleep at all. And one day the one sadhu said, I am going to make khichdi for all of you. And Radhanath Swami is a young American boy. His name is Richard Slavin. He's come to Patna. And this sadhu makes khichdi, which is extremely spicy. Maharaj says in that book that khichdi is generally made of rice. And in khichdi, people put little chilies. But this sadhu's khichdi was made of chilies and there was little rice on that khichdi. So it was extremely austere. And as Maharaj started eating that, as his young boy, Richard started eating that khichdi, that spice got him. And the water was tears from his eyes, from his ears, from his nose. He just couldn't handle it. So this sadhu thought, this young boy is in ecstasy eating my khichdi. So he said, take more. So then Maharaj, and this sadhu was very happy. He wanted to feed Maharaj more and more khichdi. So Maharaj says, I was crying tears, but I realized that if my tears is making this sadhu happy, so these tears are worth it. So just to make that sadhu happy, this is an extreme example. I'm not endorsing that we repeat it. I'm just sharing an example from this book, just to give an idea of what some devotees do to make others happy. How they recognize others as Brajvasis, how they recognize other devotees as dear to Krishna. So Maharaj ate that khichdi just to make this sadhu happy. And of course, at one point of time, he couldn't take it anymore. So he folded the patta and he said, Purna, ho gaya. Now I don't want khichdi. So then that sadhu was very happy, went around telling everyone, see, this American sadhu also liked my khichdi very much. So Maharaj was saying that how he was satisfied making the other person feel very happy, although he was himself suffering. So then Maharaj said that night, when he slept on the bank of Ganga, the mosquitoes did not trouble him. Now, he could have said, because I was sincerely serving, I was selfless, because of that, maybe mosquitoes didn't bite me. No, Maharaj gives a very interesting purport. He says, I think the mosquitoes found my blood very spicy. So that's why they didn't trouble me, because I had hot khichdi. So the humor apart, the mood is, yes, I am going through purification, but can I make these devotees who are Brajvasis, who are dear to Krishna, can I make them happy? Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and Prerna lecturer, I remember very distinctly, was very, very sick. And it's a long story. I'm not speaking that story here, but I'm just saying how he had very high fever and he said he can't give the class. I was under a lot of pressure because the burden was on me. And then there are thousands of people coming to the temple. I didn't want to give the class because, their expectations would be smashed. Finally, Maharaj agreed and he gave the class. And in the night when I thanked Maharaj, Maharaj embraced me and I could feel his body was boiling. Its temperature was very high. I said, Maharaj, you have very high fever. Then Maharaj very politely told me, Prabhu, if I can die 1,000 deaths to please all of you for one evening, it is worth it. Oh, when I heard that, I realized what it means for some devotees, the principle of making others happy. Again, I repeat, we can't imitate this, but the principle is, Yes, we go through purification, but to experience joy amidst suffering will happen when we think of making others happy. And we need anesthesia. No, when the surgery is going on, we need anesthesia. And that is the association of devotees and blessings and prayers of devotees. I think I've shared with most of you in my previous classes. One of the journals I write is a prayer journal, blessing journal, offering prayers for others. And sometimes I share with the devotees that, Prabhu, today I prayed for you, and I take a photograph of my journal and I forward it to them. Initially, I was thinking I'm showing off. Like, I would get this thought that why am I telling others that I'm praying for them? Why can't I do it quietly? What am I trying to do? But now I've made peace with it. I tell myself it's okay if they think like that, because I desperately need their prayers. And the only way I can convince them to pray for me is by praying for them. So when I show them this, my journal photo, when I take a photograph of my journal and I tell them, Prabhu, see, today I prayed for you, then tomorrow they would also pray for me. We are helpless. Material energy is indefatigable. She is unrelenting. Yes, externally we have to be determined, but internally we need to depend on Krishna, Krishna's devotees. Krishna is most merciful. You know the pastime? After the Kaliya pastime, Krishna decided to make Kaliya his driver. When Garuda is not available, when Garuda is on leave, Krishna rides on Kaliya when he has to go somewhere. I mean, from a hopeless demon who killed Krishna's cows and Krishna's friends, he goes on to become a driver of Krishna. Like Putana became a nurse. Kaliya became Krishna's driver. Krishna is so nice. Krishna is so kind. He will accept us although we are envious. But can we surrender? Can we tell Krishna, Krishna, I am fallen, I am yours? And can I take shelter of Krishna's devotees? Can I make them happy? And when we do that, then we will realize that even though we go through suffering that is due to us, we are joyful. So this is the essence of what I wanted to share on this topic, of how we can experience joy amidst suffering. The essence of this is that we need to focus on offering our heart to Krishna and trusting Krishna as our well-wisher, and simultaneously taking shelter of Krishna's devotees. And then third, offering prayers or repeating the prayers that we have heard in Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures. When we do this, then that purification will be a joyful process. We won't only feel the thunderbolt of Krishna on our heads, we'll also feel Krishna's loving embrace. Krishna's devotees are most dear to Krishna. And when we get attached to them, and when we pray for them, when we love them and serve them, Krishna will make our purification process peaceful. That is the anesthesia which will help us tolerate the surgery that Krishna will anyways do for us. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Can we have some comments or questions regarding what we have discussed today? Hare Krishna. Somebody will have to facilitate these question answers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. So yes, we'll take the question answers now. I see Ajit Garg Prabhu raised his hand. So please go ahead, and all the rest devotees, kindly raise your hands, whoever wishes to ask questions, and we'll take one by one. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for a very enlightening topic, and this has been a biggest challenge. Like we at least I feel that chanting and a quality chanting is a must, but still after hearing so much, I'm unable to put in my honest efforts, right? So obviously one thing which I always feel is that I try to run, complete my rounds. Timing is a challenge which always appears. So that is one thing. And another thing is, like when you said that three important things which we have to do is, first is surrendering to Krishna. What does exactly surrendering means and how to do that? So these are the two things which I need your guidance. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So regarding time, I spoke about Avyagratva. Don't rush your rounds. Just at least few rounds you chant, just connecting with Krishna, and don't rush your rounds. And how to not rush your rounds? You don't rush your rounds by not rushing your rounds. So that's how to practice patience. Just be patient. So that's the answer for that. Regarding surrender, what is surrender? Srila Prabhupada says in one class, surrender is very simple. The moment you remember Krishna, you are surrendering. The moment you say, Krishna, I am yours. Krishna, please help me. The moment we remember Krishna, our surrender has begun. And if you are finding chanting very challenging, try this technique. This is what I heard yesterday from His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. He is giving initiations in Amritsar. And he gave this initiation class in Amritsar. And he said, very interesting about chanting. He said, many devotees have this question, I don't have taste in chanting. How can I be happy? I'm chanting for so long. I have no taste. I don't find ecstasy in chanting. So Maharaj kind of elaborated on this mood of devotees. Common question of devotees all over ISKCON. I'm chanting, but I'm not feeling ecstasy. I'm chanting for so many years. How can I get ecstasy? After Maharaj kind of built it up, Maharaj said, you want to get ecstasy? Then stop asking this question. Start asking the question, how can I make my chanting such a way that Krishna gets ecstasy from my chanting? How can I make my chanting in such a way that Krishna becomes happy with my chanting? When you start asking this question, then you will see that you're also happy in your chanting. He gave the example of gopis who were willing to go to hell for making Krishna happy. But generally, when we are chanting, we're thinking of my happiness, my mind is troubling me, I'm not happy. Okay, just change this paradigm. How can I make Krishna happy? Krishna will be happy if I chant today japa with devotees. Krishna will be happy if, although I'm feeling sleepy, if I wash my face, if I stand and chant my rounds, Krishna will be happy. That is surrender. To begin with, surrender is remembering Krishna. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Anukulasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjanam. He gives 6 principles of surrender, accepting those things which are favorable for Krishna consciousness, rejecting those which are unfavorable, like that. Rakshati iti vishwaso goptrutva varanam tata. Krishna is my protector, Krishna is my well-wisher. So when we cultivate this mood, we are surrendering to Krishna. So like this, we can practice surrender. But to begin with, we can start remembering Krishna and start thinking of Krishna's happiness rather than my happiness in chanting. This is a paradigm shift, and this will ensure that we get taste in chanting also, and this will also keep us peaceful, actually. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ajit Prabhuji, for the beautiful question. Next, we will take Rama Chiranjeevi Prabhuji from Hyderabad. Please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please answer amazing. Thank you very much for amazing lecture, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like as many times you speak about journaling. So I also write journaling for past 7 years, Prabhuji, but I don't know how to pray for a devotee through the journaling process. Like, will you please share some examples on there?
So you can write one name.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You may be knowing at least 50 people in life.
Yes.
So it could be your office colleague, it could be your neighbor, it could be another devotee in the community, it could be some children. See, I generally write prayers for children. Somehow I like, So write one name, any name you write, okay? And after writing that name, then you write few words should be common. Krishna, please. This should be common for all names that you write. Okay. So write one name, any devotee, any person's name, then you write Krishna, please. And then write 1 or 2 lines about that person, a prayer for that person. Like Sham Govind Prabhu. So one friend of mine from London, Sham Govinda Prabhu. Then I wrote dash, Krishna, please help him get free of this deadly cancer disease. Please cure him from the cancer if you so desire, so that he can render uninterrupted devotional service unto you. So this entire thing took me 1.5 minutes, 1 minute to write. This is a prayer for that devotee. Does this answer your question, Prabhu? So this is what we do. So this is how we can journal a prayer for other devotees. Like that, you write 5 names of 5 devotees and write a prayer for them. And I realized once, after writing prayers like this for 3 or 4 weeks every day for other devotees, one day when I was in Temple Hall during Guru Puja, I started getting an overwhelming surge of love and affection for all the devotees in the temple hall. I began to feel that everybody is pure, the spiritual life is ecstatic, ISKCON is wonderful place. I was looking at one child. I said, "Oh Krishna, let this child get all happiness." Then I looked at one brahmachari who was doing arti. I said, "Oh Krishna is so wonderful. All his good qualities of the devotee started being revealed in my heart." I started looking at everybody as wonderful person, and I was realizing why am I feeling? Then I realized because every day I'm praying for others. So this is a great gift we give to ourselves. When we wish good for others, we are learning how to live beyond ourselves. So you can try this as a journaling method, and then you'll experience deep happiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Next, we'll take Sharanya Mataji's question from Hyderabad. Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Panchang Pranam. Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes, please go on.
Prabhuji, my question is that while we are going through this purification process and it is extremely painful, how do we trust Krishna that in this circumstances? Like intellectually, we know that Krishna is our well-wisher,
Yes.
and he is the foremost of well-wisher that we could ever have.
Yes.
But how do we trust him from our heart, not through our intellect?
Yes, I agree. This is a little tricky here because especially when we're going through pain, it is difficult to trust Krishna. So what I do is, there are two parallel tracks in Bhakti. One is the pain and suffering I'm going through. And second is, independent of that, there is gratitude to Krishna. So, sometimes when I do gratitude workshop, people say, how can I be grateful for the suffering I'm going through in life? I tell them, no, don't be grateful for that. You can't be grateful. Sometimes forgiveness workshop, people say, how do I forgive those who have hurt me? I said, don't forgive them. See, the thing is, we want to answer the difficult questions first. Our problem, when we were in school, our math teacher used to say that first attempt the easy questions. Then when you have time, you attempt the difficult questions. Similarly, when I go through suffering or pain, one thing is very clear. I don't thank Krishna for that. Like last 1 month has been very intense for me. So I have 3 or 4 very close friends who helped me manage some of the issues that I had to handle. Although I was personally safe, but because I've attached to a few people in my life, that attachment was giving me misery because I was seeing them suffer and I wanted to help them. And I didn't have the resources. And these 4 devotees came together and we helped, we did whatever we could. So I couldn't thank Krishna for the situation I was in. I couldn't thank Krishna for what this person was going through. But there were 2 parallel tracks. I was thanking Krishna for something else. There are so many other things that Krishna has done, and you won't believe it. Even during this period, I was able to thank Krishna every day for at least 15 to 16 gifts that he is giving me. My average score was 13. I could thank Krishna for 13 gifts at least every day, 10 to 13 gifts every day, although I was handling many problems. So, but what I was thanking Krishna for had nothing to do with the problems I was going through. These are 2 parallel tracks. So how do we trust Krishna? So for some time, forget your problems. Thank Krishna for the gifts you have got in life. Like you have got hands, legs, ears, nose. You've got a body, you've got a family, you've got your people who love you. So thanking Krishna for what we have will help us trust Krishna for the suffering that we are going through. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Now we'll take Arnavya Prabhu's question. Arnavya Prabhu, if you can please unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, my question is a little bit out of context, if you allow.
Yes.
Prabhuji, it's been almost more than a year since I've been connected to the moment. So I just wanted to ask, at what moment are we supposed to find out that yes, I found my spiritual master? Because recently I've been listening to many people around the year, but I have really found my inspiration in hearing Sri Radha Maharaj, and I want to know how to connect to Maharaj. How can I, and if I can at this moment accept my spiritual master?
See, regarding spiritual master, you need to ask a few questions. First, why you need to ask why you want a spiritual master. That answer should be very clear. Second, then you need to ask what are you looking for in a spiritual master? Like, what do you expect from him? Do you expect him to give you personal time, attention, love, affection, come for your marriage, come to your house, take prasad with you, call you? There are gurus in ISKCON who call their disciples every month and like that. So there are many gurus like that who are very, personal, and they do that. So you have to ask yourself few things. First is, why do you need a spiritual master? Second, what are your expectations from a spiritual master? Basic. And then third, see who are the people who satisfy those expectations. And then let's say I know many devotees have gone through this journey. Their answer to first question was clear, why they need a spiritual master. Secondly, their answer to second question was also clear, what they expect. And then third was difficult because they had three or four spiritual masters whom they were attached to. All of them, they were attached. Like I know one devotee was attached to two sannyasis, two gurus, and emotionally attached to both of them, and is not able to decide who is his spiritual master. So I said, are you attached to both of them? He said, yes. Are both of them fulfilling your criteria? He said, yes. Are you willing to surrender to both of them? Yes. Then I said, now your solution is very simple. You may not like this answer. Don't get angry with me. This is what I told him, and it worked. I said, do two things. First, keep both of their photographs in the altar. Keep both of them, accept both of them as your gurus. Now, because there is an initiation formal process, that cannot be with both. So you take a coin and toss. Because both are your gurus. I mean, you can't keep thinking. And I said one option is wait. It may take 11 years, 12 years, 20 years for a revelation to happen. Or you could just follow. See, either you discover the answer or follow somebody else. Trust some other devotees and follow their footsteps. That is the practical way we can surrender to a spiritual master. And how to actually get initiation, there is a process. You have to have a local ISKCON temple connection, and from there you get a letter of recommendation and like that, and then there is a whole process. But if you are interested, we have admin here, Shashwat Prabhu, or Shivam Prabhu, or Kumari Gopika Mataji, Govind Prem Prabhu. They can guide you and they can help you. They are part of this ABC managing team, so they can guide you for connecting with the local temple and things like that. Hare Krishna.
Actually, Prabhuji, I've been connected to I'm connected to ISKCON Noida actually.
Mm-hmm.
And recently,
Atul Krishna Prabhu is there.
Okay.
Atul Krishna Prabhu is there in ISKCON Noida, right? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir. He can guide you.
When I started hearing Maharaj's lecture, it's actually really inspired me. And I've heard from the devotees that who inspires you the most, you should connect to them. So
yes. We'll be happy to serve you and assist you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Now we'll take Priya Vazirani Mataji from Mumbai's question. Please unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is, like you said, can we beg other devotees to pray for us to Krishna? Like, do we literally do it? Like, ask all our dear devotees to just pray for us?
See, you need to have a trust also. I mean, you can't just go around. See, it can't be done artificially. Like, it's not that you start taking the database and now start telling every devotee, pray for me. It's not a mechanical, ritualistic process. It is about a relationship, You trust devotees, you tell them, Prabhu, I'm going through this difficulty. I need your prayers. And I've seen, when you're vulnerable, vulnerability is an amazing power. Generally in this world, we are scared to be vulnerable because we get exploited by people. And we are fearful. But in spiritual life, vulnerability is a strength if you're vulnerable to the right people. So if you can reveal your heart to another devotee in confidence, and if that devotee prays to Krishna, there is a good chance that you will be peaceful in life. Because Krishna loves to see us, that's humility, approaching another devotee and being vulnerable. To be able to express the struggles that we are going through requires a lot of courage, a lot of humility. See, we cannot have an intimate relationship with another human being in this world without sharing something about ourselves with that person, by which that person can potentially exploit us and destroy us. I'm not saying he should or he will, but we cannot have a close relationship with another human being unless that person has access to something about us which can potentially harm us. But then when we do that, we are being vulnerable. When we do that, we are surrendering. When we do that, we are showing Krishna that, Krishna, I trust you. Krishna, I'm trusting your devotee. So I'm not saying go and tell that to everyone. Don't bewilder the community of devotees by telling your problems to everyone. So there are 4 devotees who know everything about me. Like I have allowed them access to my inner struggles and inner life. They know my anarthas. And it's not easy. It was not easy for me. But now I'm very peaceful because I feel protected. I trust these 4 devotees very much. So, and trust me when I say this, I know I'm not pure, but I'm very happy now because I know that there are these 4 devotees to whom I can never lie. Because they know me, they know my weaknesses. And if they choose to exploit or they choose to whatever, that's their problem. But I'm showing my sincerity to Krishna and I trust them. I'm not saying do that with everyone, but at least some devotees, we should ask them to pray for us.
That means our counselors, our dear friends.
See, again, it's not an official system. I'm not saying counselor. I can't say that. It's about the heart. I don't know who that person is for you. Yeah, I don't know who that person is for you. But no, it could be.
Understood, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, one more question. Can I?
Shashwat has to take a call. Shashwat Prabhu, he is the one.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can take this question.
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, in Krishna consciousness, like there are a lot of things to be done, like chanting. Apart from chanting, need to do the prayer, need to chant the Mangalacharan prayers, need to chant the all the morning prayers, everything, reading.
Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes very. I feel very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. Take that baby step, like how to make my mind understand.
Yeah. See, we are burdened with so many obligations in our non-spiritual life, so many things to do, right? Get ready, cooking at home, going to work, managing children, so many obligations, so many duties to perform. Then when we come to Hare Krishna, here also we are burdened with the same, so many obligations. So then we wonder what to do. That's why I've seen devotees get trapped by Netflix. They get trapped by web series because they need some ananda, they need some relief. So they go to materialistic activities and sense gratification because they don't find joy in spirit. So spiritual life also becomes like a burden for them. So my humble opinion is just keep basic minimum 1 or 2 activities as obligations in spiritual life. And keep other things as spontaneous, which nourishes you. See, okay, look, understand like this. Material life is filled with obligations and very little experience. In spiritual life, make it filled with experience and keep little obligation. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is very, very different answer. Most people will say, take up more responsibility in spiritual life and you go through this suffering, you go through this, then you will please Krishna. Because as a manager, I will tell you to take up more and more obligations because my project will flourish if you take up more challenges. But I'm not talking like a manager now. I'm talking like your well-wisher who wants to see that you are happy. So you take up responsibilities for Krishna because only when we take responsibilities and, we go out of our comfort zone, we can experience Krishna's love. But if you're overwhelmed, pause. Just have 2 or 3 or just few things which are compulsory, which are kind of duties that you want to do for pleasing Krishna. Begin with doing things that nourish you, that helps you connect with Krishna better. But you don't make it zero. Don't make your obligation zero because then mind will trick you and mind will drag you to sense gratification. So we need to anchor the mind. So like that. Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mansi. can we take Nitai Nateshwar Prabhuji from the Abu Dhabi? Prabhuji?
Yes. I see Bhavini also. Maybe we can take after Nitai Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that was pronounced. Thank you so much for this wonderful class today. While I was hearing, there was one question that came to my mind is about the process of surrendering. So is surrendering to Krishna a process, or is it a decision that we make?
It's a moment-to-moment decision. It's a
Moment.
process. Therefore, it's a process. So it's not that I surrendered to Krishna 25 years ago and I put on saffron, so my life is over. No. Krishna, just like in school, we were in 6th grade. We had an exam. Then we went to 7th grade. There is an exam. So at each stage, we grow. So surrender. So ultimately, we have to reach that stage where we are able to tell Krishna, Ashli Shava Padaratam Pinastumam, where we can tell Krishna, whether you love me or whether you reject me, I'm always yours and you will always be my eternal Lord. So we can't artificially reach there. But surrender is to begin by remembering Krishna, begin with telling Krishna, coming to Krishna with our desires, and then ultimately making Krishna's desires as everything. So gradually we move forward.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Bhavini Mataji, could you please unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One question I had was about your japa journals at the beginning of the class. You mentioned that having a deep emotional investment when we're chanting can be quite difficult. And I kind of wanted to ask if you had any advice to kind of get over that initial barrier, because sometimes I find that it can be quite hard to be vulnerable to Krishna or feel his reciprocation in the early stages when you haven't really built that relationship. So
we can do that. I discovered this through Bhaktivigyan Goswami Maharaj's one seminar. He gave a very simple technique how we can build a bridge. See, we want to ultimately have an emotional connection with Krishna. Right now, we are filled with ourselves. So how do we build a bridge by which we can have a relationship with Krishna? So he gave a simple exercise. He said, think of another human being, some human being in your life who has done something for you selflessly. So whatever your age is now, do you have at least one example or 2 or 3 examples in life of somebody who has done something for you without expecting anything in return? Has anyone selflessly done? It could be anything. It could be insignificant, something small. Has anyone loved you, given you something genuinely with your interest in mind? You have some example like that? I think I lost you. I don't know if you're still there on the screen, on Zoom. Shashwat, is it?
Yes, Prabhuji, she is here.
Okay.
yeah, sorry, Prabhu.
Okay, fine. So basically, if you have somebody in your life who has done something for you, okay? So then Maharaj says, what Maharaj says is an amazing answer. He says, think of that person, because that person, if that person has served you selflessly, whatever incident, he or she has reflected a quality of Krishna. So remember that person with gratitude and thank Krishna for having sent that person and that experience in your life. While chanting, remember that person with gratitude. So what is happening is, although it may be a little mundane, it could be material, it may not be purely spiritual, you may not be Krishna conscious in your chanting, but because you are expressing gratitude for a selfless act by a human being who is displaying a quality of Krishna, you are inadvertently expanding your heart. And when your heart is expanded, it becomes receptive to connect with emotions for Krishna. So that is the first step. So when I tried that, I saw that I could chant longer. I could sit in the temple hall for a longer period of time. Generally, we become restless after some time when chanting because there is no connection. But when I enter a space of gratitude during my chanting and appreciation, then I see that I'm able to sit for a longer time because that is a very nourishing energy. So you can try this and share your thoughts on it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Now we can take Shubh Vilas Govind Prabhuji question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance. Thank you so
Hare
much for the class. Prabhuji, you mentioned about that our bhakti journey, you have to shift from the intellectual to the emotional aspects. Can you please share some points and which will help a sadhaka? What are the things that one should do to for that transition?
Okay, the Second World War, they did research on what are the last word people spoke when before dying, the soldiers who died in the Second World War. So they did research and they found out that 90% of the soldiers, when they were dying, the last word they spoke was they called out to their mother. So calling out to mother they didn't have to practice it, they didn't have to intellectually exercise it. It was a spontaneous way of calling out to their mother because that was an emotional connect. So now we want to reach a stage in our bhakti where we can emotionally, spontaneously call out to Krishna as we are dying. Now, therefore, we need to start having an emotional connection with Krishna right now. So how do we do that? Simple. Okay. How do we remember Krishna now? Most of us remember Krishna intellectually. Like we all know, where was Krishna born? Krishna was born in Mathura, then he was taken to Vrindavan, and then in Vrindavan he stayed for how many years? 10 years. Then he went to Mathura, then he went to Sandipani Muni's ashram, then he killed so many demons, he defeated Jarasandha so many times. All the technical details we have. But we may be falling in love with Krishna's biodata. We have all the information about Krishna. We know everything about Krishna. But emotional connection is when we start asking ourselves, how Krishna has touched my life, how Krishna has protected me. Like I'll give an example. I think this example will make it clear. We had a memorial service for one Mataji who left her body in our temple, one of our congregation members. So we had a memorial program. So different devotees are appreciating her. So it was very interesting. So the end was her son came to speak, the offering. He said, my mother was married to my father when she was a young 14-year-old girl. And then she came to Mumbai. My father helped her do her graduation. Then she did her post-graduation. But we were very poor. And then initially when he was speaking about his mother's village, how she came to Mumbai, I was thinking, this is all intellectual remembrance of his mother. He's intellectually remembering his mother now. And then slowly entered a phase where he began speaking how his mother, in that poverty, his mother would eat only once in 3 days so that she could feed food for the 4 of her children. So as he was entering this space, his eyes became moist. And now he is emotionally remembering his mother. Whereas in intellectual remembrance, it seamlessly made a transition to emotional remembrance. So when he entered that phase of remembering his mother emotionally, then he was connecting to her at a deeper level. So can we as sadhakas, we intellectually know so many verses from the Gita, Bhagavatam. That is great. Now can we add our emotions there? Srila Prabhupada gave us a technique. If you're interested, you can hear this lecture of Srila Prabhupada. This is one of my favorite lectures of Srila Prabhupada, 1971, Los Angeles, July. It's there on YouTube. It's called Just Learn to Love Krishna. That is the title of the lecture. It's a 15 minutes class. In that lecture, Srila Prabhupada says, emotionally connecting, remembering Krishna means being able to tell Krishna is the ability to feel Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. Can we develop this feeling? Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. Can you think of events in your life by which you could enter this space? Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. Prabhupada explains in this 15 minutes class, at least 5 times he says this. Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. And then he gives an example of the South Indian Brahmin whom Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, why are you reading Bhagavad Gita? You're illiterate. Why are you crying? But that Brahmin said, because when I see that my Krishna, God has become driver for his devotee, I feel Krishna has become driver. I feel Krishna is so nice. Krishna is so kind. Now, you may say, but Krishna is driving Arjuna's chariot. Why should I feel? How can I feel Krishna is so nice? Krishna is so kind. You can also feel that if you understand that Krishna is driving your chariot also. Have you ever been in a car where you thought you had a close shave, a major accident was averted? Sometimes we are in a car and we feel, oh, bach gaye. We just had a close shave. Or, sometimes, so who was driving your car that time? Who was driving the chariot of your life at that time? It was Krishna. That is what Mahaprakash Leela is in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is reminding so many devotees how he was driving the chariot of their life. Gangadas Pandit, Shivas Thakur, Advaitacharya, Haridas Thakur, Murari Gupta, Mukunda Dutt, everybody gets personal reciprocation from Krishna. So Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. This is the way we start developing an emotional relationship with Krishna. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Just like how you are helping me by answering, my question. I can remember and think about it. But even like, let's say Krishna saved me from an accident, a near miss, as you mentioned. Over there, also I'm applying my intellect, at least to some extent, that if Krishna was not there, I would have, so.
Yes, that's intelligence is the beginning. But how the transition happens, that is when you enter the heart space. That's when see, it's like you're asking a question, how you are trying to intelligently analyze how you can overcome intelligence and enter the heart space. So that happens when you pause and you see, you are, I'm not accusing you, but we are all control freaks. We want to figure out everything. See, some things are not figured out. Some things you don't understand. You don't figure out. Some things are revealed to us. See, you are trying to achieve. You are trying to figure out everything in bhakti. Bhakti, everything is not. See, there are some things you understand, and some things are when understanding is revealed to you. So, if you are present, if you are mindful, if you listen to Krishna Katha, if you attend the Bhagavatam class, like I sometimes hear classes of Amarendra Prabhu, Gauranga Prabhu, Radhesham Prabhu, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, all these devotees, Keshav Maharaj. I hear not with an agenda to get some points. Today I was hearing my Guru Maharaj 1996 class, not with my notebook, not that I want to get some points so that I can speak in my class. I want to get answers for my questions. No, I don't have any questions. I don't want any answers. I just want to be in that space, that energy, that space of Krishna Katha. I want to receive. I don't want to achieve. I don't want to figure out. So when I'm in that mood, then I allow the sound to enter me and purify me. And then, bingo, it happens. You are able to invest emotions because you are present, you are mindful, you are there. Otherwise, you're in your head. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sometimes you lost your umbrella. I've experienced this. I lost my umbrella. I'm searching for it everywhere. I don't understand where I've kept it. I get frustrated. I give up thinking. After 2 days, I'm relaxing on my sofa, on my couch outside that ashram, relaxing. And suddenly I remember, umbrella is behind the refrigerator. The understanding was revealed to me. So you are trying to understand how to move from intellectual to emotional. Stop asking this question. Just relax. Just be present. Just chant. And you will see emotions enter. Emotions will enter your heart. Your heart will expand.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Now we'll take Bhanu Prabhuji's question from Haldia. Prabhuji, if you could please unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. So just little long question because I take time to express. So please pardon if any mistake I commit. My problem is that since childhood I was very much conservative. Like I will not express to anyone. But when I came to Krishna consciousness and I started feeling like if I have to grow, I should have someone to say my problem, what I am going through. And little by little, I was trying. 5 years back, I came to your one of the lecture, and because of that, I trying to practice authenticity. And whatever things are there, I try to convey my counselor, etc. But last 2 year back, what happened suddenly, I left my job and joined kind of. I started serving in youth center, and here I started finding it's not so easy to tell all the things. Many times something I am going through, but I am attached to that. If I will tell to my counselor, he will not allow me. So better you keep it with yourself. But it's start giving me like, oh, you are not fully surrender. See other students, they are whatever things are, they are just accountable. Everything they are conveying to their authority, etc. And it's all the time like, oh, I am not eligible to be here because I am keeping something with me. And all the time it's bothering. Sometimes, oh, maybe I am not, my frequencies not matching with my counselor. So maybe in future I should choose some other person as a counselor, and I should start with from zero. These all things are going on. Many times I conclude like maybe it's process. Initially I was 10% accountable. Right now I am 60 to 70% accountable. So my question is it this accountability or surrendering is like process, or how this all bogging in mind going on like you are not eligible to be here, you should change and choose as someone else? Am I able to convey my problem?
Yes. See, this is a classic case of overthinking. So overthinking is a common disease. It's a common problem most devotees have, because it gives us a feeling that I'm thinking, so I'm active, so I'm trying to get a solution. So the solution for your issue is just do action. I can't say don't think, just perform action, which means do some seva, get involved in some projects, and allow Krishna to send the right kind of friends, right kind of association for you. Until that happens, keep practicing the culture of giving yourself. See, overthinking is all about myself. Oh, what am I doing? Am I doing it right? We are filled with ourselves. When we do service, we are going out of ourselves. When we go out of ourselves, we will see many of our problems also go away. So the antidote for overthinking is action. Action is what punches overthinking. So the answer to your question, my humble opinion is take up some responsibilities, serve, and you will see that you will attract devotees in your life, and you will be able to navigate through this and get answers for all these questions. Otherwise, there is no end. When we do overthinking, even if we get answers, then more questions come. So there is no answer to these questions. The answer is perform services and let the answers be revealed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pradeep. The last question we have is from Malati Mataji. Mataji,
Yes.
please mute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Prabhuji, my question was that, like, how to revive the lost connection in the spiritual path? And can you suggest some initial 1 or 2 steps which I can implement it and, get back on the track or something like that?
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada says that when you have fever, you lose appetite. You can't eat anything. So then you take medicines, you eat, khichdi, you slowly start the process. So if you are disconnected from spiritual life, if you're in a kind of spiritually diseased condition, then you begin slow, you begin light. In the sense you start chanting little rounds, not so many rounds, start hearing classes of devotees that nourishes you, doing some seva. This is a triangle, HSC, hearing about Krishna, service and chanting. If you can get taste for one of these 3 at least, or association. See, the center of this triangle is association. Having good friends who can help you, like what I do when I meet people like you or whoever talks to me, then I send them links of some lectures that I like. Basically making friendships with people who will help you get taste. So this is the way you can, don't do too much. Begin slow. Just like when you are sick, you take little, your digestion is not there, so you take khichdi, you start eating, slowly you start getting taste. So you start like that. Like, you can hear lectures. There are so many devotees lectures in YouTube. See, hearing is the foundation. Hearing is very important. Hearing will give you attraction for spiritual life. Hare Krishna.